Oh, yeah. What's up, y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka, why does he keep stroking his taco meat? I can't even do it. Oh, oh God. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. Oh God. AKA the habitual juice sipper. AKA the Komaki Tiger Dropper, aka the undisputed, undefeated, uncontested social distancing champion, aka the nigga lip master, bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, episode 156. I want to echo that. I just feel compelled to. 156. That just felt right. I'm sorry. For those that don't know, Switches Sites podcast is a solo video game podcast where your boy just talks about that. Yeah. Today's date is June 3rd, 2022. Happy The Boys season 3 release day or night for those that are in, those that like to just see it right when it drops. I'm a little late, but happy post state of play. Woo. Why does it change? It changed this. I don't get it. It was actually perfect timing though. I didn't even adjust it. It just wanted it.
Woo!
Happy state of play day. Boy, we definitely about to divulge into that. Yeah, man. Wow. You know what? It's a really good show today. Not even gonna hold you. So you know what? Let's stop the dilly-dally and get right into it. First topic of discussion, of course. PlayStation State of Play that dropped earlier today. Man, oh man. We got some stuff to talk about. Let me get recap the stuff, cause I ain't trying to miss nothing. I'm not trying to miss anything. So man, right off the bat, State of Play started off Resident Evil Remake. It was heavily rumored. Some screenshots got slipped up here and there. And what do you know? We finally got the confirmation we've been looking for. Resident Evil 4 Remake is real. Do we want it? Well, let me rephrase that. Do we need it? No. Do we want it? Yes. Should it have been Code Veronica Remake? Absolutely. But let's just deal with the cards we've been dealt in this scenario. So, actually, while it's going on, let me it's I'm pretty surprised. So yeah, they start off with the release date preemptively. I guess for those that are more savvy, quick to it, that it is technically the quote unquote Resident Evil font, which I'm not. I always forget what that font is exactly, but you know, if you line it up against something else, I'd be able to figure it out. But at first, I thought it might have been Last of Us, maybe Last of Us Remake. Did not for sure think it would be you know, the next sequel to Last of Us or anything like that. But then of course with the music, Resident Evil, and then they put the 4. It's like, oh shit. Oh shit. So yeah, try to truncate pretty much all the stuff that we saw, but man. I guess I'm pretty sure it starts off with Ashley Graham, showing her running. So I'm guessing they're probably gonna splice that up a bit. It at least is for sure. Well, I guess it wouldn't. That would be a huge major point to detract from Resident Evil 4 by doing that, ripping her out completely. Yeah, man. Wow, man. Yeah, you got Lewis. Show a little bit of Lewis with his with the Red 9. You got they showed the village, like man, it looks very different, and it looks very, you know, villagey, which I know they said like a lot of the assets from RE Village were being used in this game as well. But it kind of works, at least, you know, just seeing it. You see the game in engine, you see Chris moving. There's a lot more detail to the environment. It does look, they pretty much rehashing the initial moment with the first oh, that's not a zombie, whatever. I don't even Ganado, the first Ganado. Oh, that's not a zombie. Man. Just fire. Lewis looking different. You know, we don't see his face yet. Man, they showed the castle portion a little bit. The what are they? I think, well, the church Ganados, they definitely look more like realistic. I'd say they look more vile. They look more like senile in a lot of ways. They got a quick shot of Ada Wong. I didn't even pick up on they showed us a lot in this trailer. If you like pause frame, freeze frame. Ada Wong, she's got a new outfit. I guess that dress wasn't cutting it, but hey, the ballistics the ballistics are still intact. The ballistics are still intact. Have no fear. They showed, I didn't even catch this during the initial showing. This is my second time actually watching it. They show the boat of the Del Lago fight. That's gonna be interesting. At least it's good to get something grasped. They show the big cheese. Yeah, that's definitely the big cheese. I'm curious. He looks, in terms of his gait, his stature, it looks very similar to Mr. X. It looks very similar to Mr. X from RE2. I could see it. I would not be surprised if they if they include him more into the gameplay rather than, you know, compared to the original RE4, where he is maybe more of a nemesis, more than actual nemesis is in the remake RE3, but I digress. Yeah, I could see it. He, like, maybe during the village portion, he's maybe temporarily or kind of has the same AI as Mr. X, where he's kind of like on his own thing, but if he hears some people nearby or something, he will you get your ass. I could see it. It feels a lot like it. He doesn't look as big as he as he does, of course, in the original, but I'm curious if that is I'm curious if that is maybe just a scaling thing, or, you know, They haven't fully fleshed that out yet. Wow. Oh, they showed a clip of Leon getting infected by the progenitor virus. Wow. There's a lot of detail in this trailer. That yeah, if you analyze it, it's a lot of treats. Wow. Yeah, they show Salazar, a little bit of Salazar. He looks very, very, again, pretty close, faithful to his original counterpart. Huh. Wow. Get a little bit of the initial drive into what is this place called? Well, I guess I don't think it's technically a name. Something Village. Damn it. Let me look it up. What is it called? Not El Pueblo. Is it? I guess technically maybe it is. Yeah, El Pueblo. Showed a pic of Ashley Graham. I think they showed a little clip of like a frame of her. Like I'm assuming they're reinventing the her parts segments of the compared to the previous game as well. So, man, Leon walking to the village for the first time, March 24th, 2023. Oh, this is interesting. There's a lot of details I'm picking up just now. Leon's brown sheepskin leather bomber jacket appears with permission from Scott NYC. So I guess that must be a renowned jacket that they put in the game. It definitely seems more faithful to the alpha build of the game, or I guess I think maybe they called it Resident Evil 3.5, at least amongst the fans. That build, whereas the creepy version before we got the Resident Evil 4 we know and love today. But I really dig that little detail of the coat, the coat being more faithful to that. But I'm guessing maybe now in retrospect, it might be due to licensing or whatever for the official coat. But I'd love it. I love it. Keep the coat. If it better be. If there is not an option to keep on the coat throughout the whole game after you do a new game plus, what are we doing, Capcom? That's the one complaint I have. It would be a 10, but I can't keep the coat on throughout the whole playthrough after on New Game Plus. I don't want it. I don't want it anymore. If I can't keep the coat on, then what are we? What is the purpose? So yeah, they just hit the ground running with Resident Evil 4. Spider-Man Remastered coming to PC. So again, with PlayStation's initiative to port more of their console exclusives to PC is in full effect, as we've seen here. Seeing the cutscenes in what I believe look like 60 FPS. So I think the console versions, at least definitely the maybe not. I'm pretty sure the console versions were locked to 30 cutscenes specifically. So at least you can tinker to your heart's content. I know people about to get crazy with the mods. Horizon Forbidden West update where I think they announced the ultra booty hard mode. No, ultra hard mode. Transmogging, I believe. For those that don't know, transmog is basically one of the best additions to gaming and should be implemented more, but essentially lets you keep the aesthetics of a particular armor while having the attributes of a different armor that you can attach to the different armor. So essentially you get the best of both worlds. You can look good and feel good and just have that synergy all together, Improved graphics, visuals. Game Plus trophies, of course. So pretty decent, at least perfect for me. Having yet to play. They also showed I think they gave us a little taste of it previously, but at least during this state of play, they showed us a full blown trailer of the PSVR2 game Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR2. So essentially, at least what it definitely feels like is Horizon Forbidden West or Dawn in PSVR vision. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it, but I know going back to RE4, they did announce VR as well. I wonder how that's gonna. I would assume my guess is it's literally gonna be almost not necessarily identical, obviously, but pretty close to just RE4 VR. Basically, just be able to play it in VR. I feel like they're being coy about it for maybe because they're not fully sure yet, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. That would make a lot of sense, just being able to play through the game all over again in VR. And obviously they have the template to some extent for RE4 VR on the Oculus Quest 2. So I'm down for that. Definitely down for that. Yeah, so Horizon Call of the Mountain for PSVR 2. Forgot after RE4, shortly after that, they did announce that Resident Evil Village will also be coming to PSVR 2, which I think we all saw it coming. I need to get my mind out together. I mean, Lady D, whatever. But yeah, this is going to take the whole Lady D, fervor to a whole new level. I'm just saying, if I'm in the VR and, Lady D is like, emasculating me, and, I'm just saying is what's some of that extra DLC exclusive to PSVR 2 gonna look like that, may not be E for everyone if you get what I'm saying. Let me stop. It's pretty, I think it's pretty apparent. So PSVR 2 is gonna sell like crazy now, of course, obviously. No. We got a Callisto Protocol. So this is basically from the developers of Dead Space, which is kind of crazy now in retrospect, at least now that we know the release date of this game. These were made by the former developers of Dead Space. They basically made a new studio and are pretty much making what feels like a very close spiritual successor to some extent to Dead Space, because it definitely has a lot of similarities, vibes, feel to Dead Space. Maybe a little bit more on the cybernetic side, but it definitely has that horror vibe. You got the visible health on the back of the character. You got the outrageous violence, the visceral violence, kind of the sci-fi horror elements as well. But yeah, I'm definitely digging this more than looking forward to this more than Dead Space Remake, which I think they're coming fairly close. So I think Callisto Protocol is coming. They announced it December 2nd of this year, and I think the Dead Space Remake is coming later next year. I want to say February. Let me confirm that. What was it? Yeah, December 2nd, Callisto Protocol. January 27th, Dead Space. That's you definitely want to get out the way. Get out the way of Callisto Protocol. That is for sure. So, then we got Roller Dome, which was, it feels like if you mixed my friend Pedro with roller skates, you would get Roller Dome. So basically, you own some roller skates, the 4-wheelers, and you just doing tricks. You skating on walls while you got dually handguns, machine guns shooting at people. I'm totally down for it. This is the peanut butter and chocolate I didn't know I needed until now. So sign me up. Sign me all the way up. Eater Nights. This is some it's a dating sim, and I didn't even know that. At least from the trailer, it looked like an action game, but apparently it's an action game and dating sim. That's coming out next year for PS4 and PS5. Looked pretty interesting, actually. I like some of the action elements. Hey, now there's dating in it. I mean, hey. No Man's Sky coming to PSVR. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Chapter 2 coming to PSVR. Street Fighter 6. They showed, we finally got like a pretty in-depth trailer for Street Fighter 6. Out of nowhere, they which I didn't see coming, that they seem to have a fully blown single player focused adventure mode, kind of similar to Mortal Kombat Deception's Conquest mode, where you have said generic character explore the universe of at least in this case Street Fighter, and try to fight Street. I don't know. It definitely hinted at they showed what definitely looked like a created custom character. You just know when a character looks just custom, because you could just tell. If you played enough games, you can already tell. So it's I think it's pretty much a given that this is going to be your customized character. Maybe get a generic name that nobody will actually say, or they'll call you. So hey man, hey you, why don't we fight Bison and get and learn the ways of the Satsui no Hado or something, Hey, it's possible. It's possible. But he was Hadouken in excuse me. Shoryukening a drum barrel, and I think you could pick up a coin. Is it called Street Fighter Buck? Or so? I don't. They didn't. None of this is confirmed. I'm just shooting shit. But what else? Yeah, so they show your character exploring this city, which it seems to be very much implied that this is mad what is it? Why is it not coming to me? The city that Final Fight is based in. I swear I know it, but it just comes a blank. Metro City. Oh my god. Oh man, maybe I'm getting dementia. I don't know. Metro City, it seems like where pretty much this is being based, and you could definitely get a lot of implications that they're definitely putting the feelers out to try to get people warmed up to get Final Fight, get back to Final Fight again. So I think I feel like they're going harder than ever to associate Street Fighter with Final Fight, which is canonically the case as it always been. But I feel like they're going 10 times hard to fully intertwine these universes, which at least I would assume down the road to eventually get a dedicated Final Fight game out there, which would be pretty dope. But I'm digging this single player mode. It seems to give maybe some very, very light Yakuza vibes. Exploring a city, I believe you can just go up to some random people and pick fights with them, and it seemed fairly seamless. So it definitely at least implies that it's like a lot of automedy or a loop, pretty decent loop within there or something. So color me interested very much. Yes. The gameplay looked pretty good. I saw parries to some extent. I saw what else? The flashy ultimates, arts, critical arts, whatever you call it. What else? I think they I think this was off the trailer, but a lot of stuff that came after the trailer. But there's apparently a sports game commentary system where There's like legitimate, like, established commentators from like the esports side scene of Street Fighter that are in this game that will be, announcing as you're fighting the characters, or I'm assuming it's going to be an optional feature if you want. Which I think it has potential to be pretty dope. Probably have some DLC packs. I definitely would like to see Yipes. That he'd be pretty dope. We gotta get Tasty Steve in there. That'd be pretty dope as hell too. I'd be down. I guess my only concern is like they made it seem like, oh no, it's gonna be dynamic or live or whatever, but I'm like, I don't think I doubt like these announcers are gonna work in shifts and announce every person's game or something like that. So it seems like it's gonna be very, at least my frame of reference is that it's gonna be very similar to a sports game. Sports games where they have an announcer system where they have these canned responses and they try to randomize it to make it feel like the real games or whatever. So I pretty much see that's gonna probably be the case here, which is pretty dope, and makes a lot of sense, I think, too, considering how established fighting games are getting into the esports scene. So I think that has the potential to be pretty interesting for sure. And then, making the hype and the pressure even greater, heightening the morale a bit, like, oh man, did you see that? Oh, he can't keep getting whiff punished like that, stuff like that. I think that definitely has the potential to be pretty dope. Get some like guest announcers in here that are like maybe more famous, or I don't even know, maybe get Snoop Dogg in here. I know Snoop Dogg would totally do it. Oh, for shiggity. Oh, you see that Hadoken? Oh, for shizzle. Something like that. He can make it work. Just talk to some fighting game players, tell them what they need to do. Oh, the potential is there. They get some established fighting game players, tell them what to say. It could work. It could work. Tunic announced to come to PlayStation, even though it is you ain't hear from me, but it is available on Game Pass right now. I'm just saying. Season, Letter to the Future, indie game, Stray. They announced this is actually going to be one of the first PS Plus Extra, I think, is the tier where this is going to be a free, quote unquote, free game for the PS Plus Extra tier. And then they had to put that, just the other piece of bread to this juicy state of play sandwich, with, of course, finally a new trailer for Final Fantasy 16, the game that's been in like on just perpetual hiatus, it feels like, since it couldn't have been 2019. Might have been 2019 since we saw the previous trailer, maybe 2020, either or. We finally got a more in-depth trailer showing like a lot of the summons, which apparently is going to be like a big part of this game. Yeah. And you got the medieval stuff. They showed a scene where the main character was naked with somebody. So hey, there's sex as well. As it's basically Game of Thrones. Just Game of Thrones without the title. And you know what? I'm not mad at it. I mean, I guess without the incest, which I think we could all not want or need anyway. So Final Fantasy 16 is Game of Thrones without the incest. Game of Thrones without the I hate it. I hate it. So yeah, pretty much have to say overall, pretty damn good state of play. Capcom putting a PlayStation on his back You hear me putting PlayStation on his back. Strained. But outside of that, of course, a lot of just as solid games. Of course, Callisto Protocol. That's definitely looking very much forward to that. It's a lot to love, man. It's a lot to love. Street Fighter has a lot of potential. Some of the new characters they showed. Jamie, he looks kind of interesting. Yeah, a lot of potential. Very strong showing for State of Play, for sure. It's crazy. Now it's like we don't, what it's been like, who knows how many years in now that we've literally like no longer did full blown presentations. Well, I guess we'll, with Xbox's event coming up, they'll probably do like a, traditional, hey, back to you, Jeff, or something like, I don't, I kind of miss it, to be honest. I kind of miss it. But hey, we still getting those announcements though. I think that's the more important part. So cool. Moving on. Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. The game that we are all heavily anticipating, waiting for. Apparently, supposedly, maybe, got its release date leaked, according to the PlayStation database. According to the database, the date is specifically June 16th, which seems to be very ample grounds for a shadow drop. But looks like that was ruined by whoever. Well, apparently PlayStation database. But I guess we'll see. At least deeper into Summer Games Fest, which technically kicks off next Thursday, I believe, the 9th. Yeah, next Thursday. So I guess we will see what comes of it. But I mean, that seems likely. I guess I'm surprised. I'd assume that. And then the Cowabunga collection, which is the compilation of all the old Ninja Turtle games, would have came out first, and then Shredder's Revenge would have came out after that. But hey, either way, I'm taking it. Either way, it's Cowabunga over here. Cowabunga. Shell shock. I don't know the relevance. But yeah, I think that seems very likely. I think Streets of Rage 4 remake dropped in April-ish. So, and it seems like the game is pretty much ready. I think maybe they're just waiting for the time to pop it out. So I would like that very much. Very, very much. Give it to me now. Moving on. Call of Duty, very interesting news. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is actually getting released on Steam, obviously alongside of the other counterparts. So this is interesting. I think this implies a lot of things. I feel, at least specifically, that I think off the bat, I think this indicates the potential that the .net, Blizzard.net, I forgot I can never remember, Battle.net maybe changing or maybe going on its way. I would assume shortly after Xbox, the Xbox acquisition is done, that maybe they're gonna rid themselves of Battle.net potentially, or it could be a scenario like Ubisoft Connect. I think that's the current name for it now, where you can technically buy the game on Steam and But when you buy the game, it's essentially resorts to the Battle.net launcher anyway. So it pretty much defeats the purpose of getting the Steam version to some extent, other than, I guess, showing your Steam friends that you're playing it. But, yeah, I would assume it's probably just mainly to get more visibility to the game than otherwise. Because when you think about it, you have Battle.net, which of course people who want to play the game are going to go that way anyway. But for the people who are kind of on the fence, maybe Steam purists, like, if it ain't on Steam, I don't want it, which I wholeheartedly understand. That, they'll see, oh, Modern Warfare 2, oh, they remade it, they rebooted it? Yeah, all right, let me try it. And then, just straight up, discover it that way, which I think is very much practical, outside of enthusiasts like myself that are like in the know for everything video game related. So it's definitely a smart idea. I mean, obviously a lot of companies have been doing it. Ubisoft, EA doing it now. Bethesda, which is now merging with Microsoft as well. They're, getting rid of their launcher and let you transfer all your games to Steam as well. So Gaben be Gaben. Lord Gaben, keep on Gaben. I respect it. I appreciate it. I guess that's the biggest question though. Is it gonna? I guess it's inevitable. Really, I think it's pretty much apparent for now, but I think for future releases down the line, that it will maybe not require the launcher, be a different version for Steam that doesn't require you to have the Steam launcher, or Battle.net launcher, if that still exists after the Xbox acquisition. So cool. And with that said, that concludes the news for this week. Fun thing I always try to do, at least if I can remember it. Of course, we in prime video gamers quiz video gamers Christmas. That was unintended, but I went with it. Video gamers Christmas. So it's only right to make some bold predictions that probably will never happen, but it's just fun just to speculate in of itself. So without further ado, I give you my this is gonna sound dumb.
2022 E3 Summer Games Fest predictions.
So what we got? Mind you, I made this list before the state of play. You could believe me or not, but I'm just telling you, I made this list even before that. But with the state of play in mind, I was trying not to be too state of play focused. So just keep that in mind. My bad. That's the wrong soundbite.
Prediction number 1.
Resident Evil Outbreak remake. We did not see that at the state of play today. But there's still hope. There's still hope. I'm not letting it go. All right. It's what kind of hurts a bit too, is that we're probably more likely to get RE-verse than freaking RE-verse than RE Outbreak remake, and that just don't sit right with me. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. What is our world right now if freaking RE-verse of all games is more likely to release than Resident Evil Outbreak? I don't know if I want to be in that world. But that's a whole nother discussion. My prediction still stands. Anything is possible. All right.
Prediction number 2.
Silent Hill will be announced. Again, this is heavily implied that it's involved with PlayStation, but considering the history of Summer Games Fest and Jeff Keighley and stuff, I think the likelihood of them being integrated is very likely. I think they might have saved some nuggets for Jeff Keighley's Summer Games Fest. I think that is very, very possible, considering the zeitgeist that has been built. Consider this whole just historied past of Silent Hill eventually being rebooted and then not getting rebooted, getting canceled, and then hopefully maybe coming back again. I still believe and I still stand in my belief that this thing is real.
Prediction number 3.
Final Fantasy Remake Part II will be announced. I'm a little wary because technically that opportunity was probably primed to happen at this state of play, but I think there's still possibility that it can still happen again as a little nugget saved for Summer Games Fest next week. And I believe Nomura, the producer of FF7 Remake, said that he was actually going somewhat semi-confirming that there will be an announcement. I think sometime this week or roughly within the Summer Games Fest window. So I think technically that's still possible, even though, we got 16. But apparently they're gonna do both, supposedly.
Prediction number 4.
Dino Crisis. I want it. A lot of people want it. Freaking Jurassic Park. What is it called? Dominion. That's coming out. I mean, there isn't a better time to capitalize on unofficial media. I don't even know what you call it. Unofficial media trend capitalization, I think, other than to announce Dino Crisis. Motherfucker, y'all got freaking Jurassic Park, bitch. We got Dino Crisis. you got fucking Jurassic Park, bitch. We got Dino Crisis. It's literally a Capcom rep in a suit. It's similar to that dude that announced the PlayStation like cut that was like way more cheaper than was it PlayStation versus the what was it? Damn it. Basically, it was an announcer, like some guy for, I think it was PlayStation, undercutting some other company, like saying $300, and then just left. I was like, oh man. I think it was PlayStation versus the Sega Saturn. Sega Saturn had like a crazy price, and like the PlayStation was like only $200, I think, compared to Saturn's $600 at the time. Obviously price inflation, blah blah blah. But yeah, you just get a dude in a suit that just got Capcom just all over his shirt, and then he said, so fucking ignorant. y'all motherfuckers, fucking damn, freaking Jurassic Park, Dominion, whatever it's called, bitch. We got Dino Crisis. And then he just walks. And that's it. That needs to be a thing. I'm just saying.
Prediction number 5.
RE8 VR edition for PSVR2 and Village DLC. So technically got half of this right. I know these psychic powers are crazy. But I mean, I think it was pretty apparent. It's pretty obvious that, considering it's literally first person, just like 7 released exclusively for PSVR, it was only right to have, RE8 being able to, fondle Miss D's boobies. Clearly that's Capcom know what they're doing too, because they were doing all of course, the likely idealistic, desired VR scenarios where you can only fantasize about, man, what would I want to do if I'm in VR? Can I, can I touch Lady D's boobies? Can I touch them? I'm just saying what the internet is saying. Okay, so take that with what you will. All right, so hey, it's a given. It's a given. All right. I'm just stating the facts. All right. Okay. Just don't shoot the don't shoot the messenger. All right. Okay.
Prediction number 6.
Goldeneye 007 Goldeneye announced for N64 Online. A lot of reasons for this. Activision, Activision, which I believe currently owns the game licensing for Goldeneye or 007, which Goldeneye is under, is getting bought by Xbox, or that is going to happen or be go fully through in 2023. So on top of that, Microsoft owns Rare, who previously were the developers that made GoldenEye. So at least from a licensing standpoint, which I believe was the biggest issue previously, I think that totally can happen now, especially considering how goody buddy that Nintendo and Xbox are lending some of their rights and stuff, at least specifically the Banjo-Kazooie DLC, which technically is owned by Xbox, for Smash. Also giving Steve from Minecraft for Smash. And then we heard the rumor about, what was it? The rumor of, it was some build for the Xbox 360 version of the 007 remake, which I guess they were working on at some extent, but for whatever reason didn't get finished. And I think maybe eventually came to be the Perfect Dark, remastered thing that came out. But that resurfaced, and I think there was like a listing saying that was gonna release, or at least it was implied that it was eventually gonna release or something like that. So considering that, you could give the original N64 version to Nintendo, but also for Xbox, Microsoft, they can get the similar remaster version like Perfect Dark, and technically get the best of both worlds, and everybody's happy, everybody loves each other a little bit more. You can pick odd job all you want and be cheap, so yeah, I think that is a pretty solidified prediction, if I do say so myself. If it happens, you heard it here first. That's all I'm going to say. Moving on.
Prediction number 7.
Bayonetta is releasing November of this year. I think it's heavily implied that Bayonetta is I think they confirmed it's gonna be released this year. And I think Bayonetta is definitely a perfect November game to release. We really still don't know what's coming this fall season, maybe outside of, I think what's pretty much, an unconfirmed given God of War Ragnarok, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Callisto Protocol. That's all I can think of at the top of my head, at least that we know is coming this year. And not much for Nintendo specifically, at least that I believe is confirmed. So I feel like Bayonetta 3 is definitely a solid pick to put in that November slot to represent Nintendo and Platinum for this year. And that's why I think it is coming November. Perfect timing.
Prediction number 8.
Nintendo Switch Pro finally announced. The rumors have been circulating back and forth, which I mean I guess you could interpret which either way. But I think Nintendo Switch Pro will be announced, but I think what makes it a little bit more likely is that I think it's not going to be what we all think it's going to be. I really still am going to stick on my horse in the belief that it's literally just going to be a dock that powers up the Switch, specifically catered towards home users of the Switch that pretty much don't use the portable version, but you still have the flexibility, and of course still doesn't alienate all of the existing Switch consoles. It adds to the experience of the Nintendo Switch and still gives you the flexibility of using the Switch. But of course, and probably where you need it most, using it in dock mode is boosted up even higher, probably using some type of synergy with like maybe a dedicated graphics card in the dock that somehow is able to work after maybe some firmware updates to have even better compatibility with the Switch in dock mode, giving you even more performance, dare I say even more, to maybe compete with a PS4, even though PlayStation's still behind. It could be maybe even more powerful than that, who knows, but that is my prediction. I still stick with it. I think it's possible. I guess we'll see. Prediction
number 8.
Final Fantasy 16 gameplay. Wish we got somebody to pay me for. No, this is, I think it's pretty much a given. Like, it was in dormant for so long. I think they maybe said that they were gonna announce or show the gameplay, whatever. So I don't know. I bleeped. I didn't. I bleep when I should. I don't bleep when I should, but I bleep when I don't need to, of course.
Prediction number 9.
I'm losing count. Exocrisis is gonna be revealed to be the Dino Crisis remake. I totally just realized that I have 2 Dino Crisis related predictions, but you know what? It's valid. It still stands, and I believe in it. So that's what it should be. As long as you believe in it, then that's what it should be. Nobody said that. So yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I believe.
Prediction number 10.
Gears of War collection will be announced with a teaser for Gear 6. I think Gear 6 is probably going to need some more time in the oven. I think to hold all of us Gears fans over, we'll get a Gears of War collection, probably have revamped, upgraded graphics. So like Gears 1, 2, and 3 probably have Gears 5 graphics and ability to hopefully more smoothly than a Master Chief collection, be able to play various games and maps from the various games, previous games, in a very streamlined fashion that is just magnifique. And on top of all the campaign stuff, have like the cool playlist feature that they have with Master Chief Collection, where you can literally play like dedicated segments and allocated segments, like driving only segments or a boss fight segments and stuff. That'd be pretty dope. Get everybody refreshed on Gears, the whole Gears series before Gear 6 comes out. probably the following year or something like that. I think it's going to happen. I believe it. I believe it.
Prediction number 11.
The Last of Us Factions 2, I guess, with PS5 version, legit one, not the added DLC or pack for the backwards compatible version of Last of Us 2, along with Last of Us Remake. Again, odds have kind of been dimmered because of the state of play, which I think it would have been shown. But then again, we didn't even get God of War Ragnarok shown yet. So I think it's definitely very possible that, again, PlayStation provided Keighley with them Skittles of juicy announcements, not to mention like Bloodborne, remake or PC port as well. So I think a lot of that is still in the pot, ready to be served for us later on within Summer Games Fest. I believe it. I believe it.
Prediction number 12.
RE4 Remake announced. I just got this foresight that is just like, it's the prediction is just I could see the future clearly. This actually was a shot in the dark. I wasn't 100% sure on this, but apparently it was true. So, of course, we did get RE4 Remake off the bat, just hitting the ground running. It was great. It was great. We don't need it. I have to keep instilling this. We don't need RE4 Remake, but God damn it, I sure as hell would take it. Don't get it twisted. I don't want it, but I sure as hell no. I don't need it, but I sure as hell want it. Don't get it twisted. Yeah. So that concludes all of my summer E3 Game Fest predictions 2022. Here's hoping a lot of these come true. If they do, I mean, clearly I'm the next Messiah. That's apparent, right? No, I think it's just really just being hip on stuff and knowing the odds and whatever. But still, Messiah possibility is within there somewhere, maybe. Probably not, but I digress. So, damn, that was a lot. With all that being said, that concludes the announcements. Get into what I've been playing. Deathverse Let It Die. There was a play test that I think dropped a week ago, but I think it didn't go live until this past weekend. I think it's another one coming up this upcoming weekend. Where I wasn't sure what this game was 100%. Seeing it, I knew it was obviously a continuation of Let It Die, but in what extent I wasn't sure. But essentially, it's Let It Die, but if you mix Let It Die with a battle royale game, you would get Deathverse Let It Die, pretty much. So basically, the game is like it starts with 16 players that are real players, matchmake, and then you all are randomly placed in. It's like, I want to say like 5 quadrants of a map, but the sectors are pretty big. So overall, it's a pretty big map, but so essentially like Battle Royale to an extent, but obviously a more contained version that's more, accommodating to this type of game. So yeah, it's pretty much that basically. And whoever is the last person alive wins. So pretty much based off that premise, at least finding that out was a little bit turned off, but I, played it for like maybe a good 4-ish hours, I want to say, but, it's okay. At least from what I played. I guess my biggest issues is that, my biggest gripe is that there isn't a lock on, which for this type of game, I think was very infuriating for me because navigating around or maneuvering around from attacks and stuff was pretty annoying, especially when you have multiple people when you're fighting against. So you're like, you're having like standard Slayer free for all match, where anybody can interrupt you and start fighting. And then that throws me off even more because I want to try to fight the one person, but I can't because I can't lock on. So now I'm kind of screwed. And then like blocking is very directional based. So even if you block, you're kind of screwed because they can hit you from behind because you can't lock on to the person to tell the game, hey, I want to fight this person specifically and, not freaking die, which pretty much happened. Did not get I guess what you would consider this in this game type of course, a chicken dinner yet. I've got like definitely a fair amount of second and third place wins, quote unquote. But yeah, they do of course add some spice to the game. They like add this dedicated uber hard like robot or AI in the game that will, at least to my understanding, or at least how the game plots it, they will fuck your life up. They will fuck your life up. All right. You don't want to mess with them. If they in that area, you might want to get out. You might want to get out that area unless you got a death wish. Unless you feeling brave. I didn't want to find out. So I think they, at least from what I witnessed, they either leave after they kill somebody, at least one person, or after a certain amount of time, they'll leave. Like the announcers will call it back, which was another interesting aspect. You got two announcers. You got this big dude who reminds me for some reason a lot of this one guy from this old PS1 game called Rogue Trip. If you look it up, you'll see what I mean. Basically some big tourist dude, and he looks just like him, like essentially he was like in that game or something, but probably just weird correlation anyway. So yeah, you got him, and then you got what I believe is still the character Lily Bergamo, who I think was the character who was the main character of this game that was previously before the studio Gung Ho came to let it die. I think the game was originally Lily Bergamo, which I think was probably going to be like some standard, action adventures slasher type single player game. But I think then transpired into eventually Let It Die, which I guess she eventually came back on the cutting board to be in this game as one of the announcers. And it's kind of, I guess, random. Sometimes you'll get her, sometimes you get the guy, and they basically comment on the game as it progresses and stuff. Oh man, look at the head go away from that, the kind of sarcastically like this is normal type thing. We're killing each other, we're fighting each other to the death type vibes. So but yeah, I mean, you got the progression, the more you play, the more you can upgrade your weapons. I think they do more damage and stuff like that. But yeah, that combat just was not hitting it for me. It's literally the same, feels like the same engine as Let It Die, but in the this versus multiplayer type environment, which does not work that well, I don't think. You got means to kind of fight, but it's something still feels off for me personally. I think when you hit other people, you heal yourself technically. I think the healing or health system is voltage or something, and you can of course bulk up throughout the map by like killing random enemies and stuff like that, but NPCs. But yeah, just that combat was not hitting it for me. It did not feel satisfying or fulfilling, which I think is definitely going to be, which I think is currently the biggest missing component of this game. So yeah. We'll see. This is the beta though, so obviously not a lot can change, and they've instilled that, hey, please give us feedback when you can, which actually I do need to do, to give them feedback on thoughts on the game. So this game could totally change around, do a 180 before it gets released. I think it's targeted for July. Who knows? It might get pushed back if, there's enough discourse about the game in its current state. So yeah, Deathverse Let It Die. Also played Shenmue 3. Went back to Shenmue 3 after I've been picking it up and putting it down like in very kind of periodical bursts. But at least I put a decent chunk of time into it, at least this past Memorial weekend. And it's something about the synergy of Shenmue that just feels comfortable and good, which Shenmue just is able to hit for me. Just the, I guess, what is it? The routineness of it. You have a time limit to do stuff, and talking to people, doing the mini games. I discovered this log splitter mini game. That's it. What is it? That's it. Fuck. It was like, that's it. That's what he said. Fuck. Shucks. Hiya. And just, very, Japanese vibes, which I, of course, appreciate. Charm me up for sure. So, trying to figure out the combat. I feel like I'm starting to understand the combat systems more and how you learn the certain moves and upgrade it, where you have to do the particular combination and things like that, which is starting to get a bit more interesting. So I definitely see myself continuing to play that as well. Also, what did I do? Destiny 2. Freaking random, but I just had this weird random urge. I'm like, this whole time Destiny came out, I think I legitimately bought it, but never touched it. And I was like, you know what? Now it's probably the time. They upgraded it for current gen consoles. Let me give it a shot. Let me finally give it a try. Like I started up briefly, like for like 5 minutes, and give them like, I don't think now's the time. So played it. Played maybe like 3-4 hours ish. Got like the tutorial down and able to get back or get to the central hub. But I know there's still like, I think, more tutorial stuff to do. So that's currently where I'm at. I don't know, man. I at least playing this initial start of Destiny kind of reminded me why I stopped playing Destiny altogether. It's just something about a shooter that's very heavily RNG based, specifically in terms of loot and stuff, that I don't know, is just was not clicking with me the way I wanted it to. But I think a big component of that is that you need to have like a really dedicated group of people to play with consistently, I think, to get the full enjoyment out of this game, which I don't really have. I don't want to commit to in general, which I think is like just where I've come to the realization where I'm probably at an impasse. Part of me just wanted to play just the Crucible, which is the multiplayer mode, but the fact that I have to do so much work to even try to get to that is like I'm kind of waning on that in of itself. So I might try to play it to at least get the Crucible and see if I can just get some enjoyment that way, because I know it's not ideal, of course, but if you just play Crucible, I know you can generally randomly sometimes get like good loot occasionally here and there. Obviously I know the best method is, of course, the cooperative content and stuff like that. So like, I don't know, the raids, like playing a segment for 7-8 hours, that does not feel appealing to me. I know that I assume that's probably more on the extreme side, but I don't know. It's like the more I think about it, I'm like, I don't want to dedicate that much time. At least, especially with the potential of loss, at least specifically for raids. So to try to commit to that again. So we'll see. More than likely, I'll probably just play enough to just be able to play Crucible and see if I'm at least enjoying that, and if not, I'm bouncing. Because now, because they transitioned and detached from Activision, that they have this weird structuring of all their DLC now. Well, it feels like, I don't know, but I know they got rid of some DLC and things like that, so it feels like it's all over the place. But yeah, I was like, let me try this first, and before I even try considering buying the DLC, I'm like, very glad I did, because I don't know. I need to give it some more time to see if I really want to, in some way, try to commit some time to playing this, which I don't. I'm very uncertain about. So, with all that being said, that pretty much concludes. Oh my God, what did I do? Pretty much concludes all I've been playing this week. Get into what I've been watching. Of course, Obi-Wan. I saw all 3 episodes. I know they premiered with the 2 episodes and caught this latest one last week. And man, I'm pretty intrigued. The first 2 episodes, like, oh, this definitely has a lot of potential, especially with the teaser at the end of the second episode. And then that 3rd episode, I'm like, okay, I'm in right now. I guess it's spoilers, but I think it's heavily implied. If you are even a fan of Star Wars, I think it's pretty much a given, at this point. So I don't really consider it a spoiler, but I guess it's a spoiler, baby. But of course, big surprise, you fight Darth Vader again, which is pretty cool. It seems like Darth Vader was getting his revenge for, obviously, with the events that happened in the prequels. So that was pretty cool. Technically they had James Earl Jones, but it was weird. I guess which is kind of freaking scary the more you think about it, but apparently they used James Earl Jones' voice, but from the original, but they used some, I forgot what they called it, but it's essentially like AI software that basically, I think, learns the person's voice and technically emulates it to say other stuff maybe they haven't said before, which is, that is a scary ass precedent, but I digress. So they have that, and it was pretty good. They really showed more details about how, like, presumably how Darth Vader gets up every day, which is kind of pretty cool, and something I'd never really thought about, which I thought is, thinking of it now, obviously seeing it in action, is pretty dope to get that much more detail in terms of, like, the pain he has to go through. It's like, damn, man, I understand why you evil now. You get more, you can definitely identify more with Darth Vader now, for sure. So, and then of course, just some highlights where they got to where Obi-Wan was hiding, and then of course using them tried and true tactics, strangling and hurting innocent people, freaking broke a dude's neck, and dragging a girl with the force. It was pretty dope though. He a bad. I understand though. I understand Vader. I understand. So, then they eventually, had the fight, and then Darth Vader got his revenge and started burning dude, and it was pretty good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Just to see Darth Vader, again, he's dope. He is a dope ass villain. Dope ass villain. Badass. It was a badass scene. It really was. Episode 3 was pretty great. Very much looking forward to where the story is gonna go now. So, also watched Love, Death and Robots Volume 3. So this is a series that's on Netflix. That's basically a assortment of various um uh one self-contained stories made by various visual effects folks, and is essentially a compilation of all that. A lot of them are pretty damn good too. At least this volume that came out, there's a lot of very intriguing stuff. Shouts out to, I think it's either Sicario or Sicario, but the freaking visual effects and animation, it was crazy. It seems like it was a hybrid of like real life people, but then moments of surrealness or visual effects, and then they did it so well where it's like I have really had a hard time telling which was which. But it was, man, that episode specifically is like, man, I can only imagine if you like high as hell and you watch that, I feel like you would lose your you would lose your mind, because it's like the visuals are just like, I feel, take you somewhere else even if you already somewhere else from other stuff, which is crazy. I think the one episode called Bad Traveling was just a totally like crazy episode. I'm not gonna spoil. There was one including like a bear. That's all I'm gonna say, which is pretty good. Yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed a lot of them. But those are at least the ones that stood out, at least I recall. So I love this series. Just a lot of just random, just visual effects, creative, self-contained, isolated episodes, which are just a pretty fulfilling way to congest a lot of stuff. Oh yeah, there was this one that gave me heavy what was it called? House of Ashes vibes, where they had like real life actors. Like I think they had the one girl from The Walking Dead, something Ramos, Michaela Ramos or something. Something Mangelio, the dude that played Deathstroke in freaking Justice League, I think. So you know, you had some big hitters in there, and man, that was a crazy episode too. Highly recommend it. Definitely not for the faint of heart in terms of like, you know, gore and stuff like that, but pretty damn good. I think you could pretty much get through the whole volume in probably like maybe like the length of a movie, like maybe an hour or two, really. So highly recommend it. Thoroughly enjoyed it if you have Netflix. And of course, Stranger Things Season 4, Volume 1. We'll get into that in a bit, but Stranger Things Season 4, man, this is probably, in my opinion, I think is the best season of Stranger Things yet, which I felt kind of surprised by that, but I'm like, I really thoroughly enjoyed this season. I was engaged. I was interested. I binged it flawlessly. I binged it without even thinking about it. That like, I thought I had even more to go. I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to call it a night and continue back. And then when I thought like we had more to go, and then of course it ended at volume 1. So of course that's my gripe with it. That's probably my biggest gripe actually. So it does. How do I say it? It does end conclusively to an extent, but it definitely still felt somewhat cliffhangery in my opinion. I mean, we only have to technically wait 30 days, so I mean, I'm probably being dramatic, but just the bingefulness in me that I'm used to when it comes to Netflix. I feel like, hey, what are you doing, man? Give me what I want. Give me what I want. So, like, let's say if this started like as a seasonal thing that was periodically throughout a week, maybe I'll be fine with. But the fact that they're starting to change that, it's kind of what had me feeling some type of way. Not gonna lie, feeling slighted, which I understand to an extent. I think it is considering everything, is somewhat of a good compromise where it's not fully conforming to this traditional TV cadence of premiering episodes weekly, but at least giving you 30 days to catch up or whatever on the contents of this season, and then coming into when volume 2 comes out, which is in July. So yeah, but at least from the season itself, awesome season. The pacing was really good. The new characters they brought in were they always, yeah, it's like they have some, I think the Duffer Brothers, the directors, they like have an idea in their head, and then the fact that they're able to just execute it like flawlessly. I just the actors and the writing, I feel like just bring just that synergy, just brings these characters alive. That like new characters, mind you. I'm like, man, these are pretty dope new characters. I really dig them. And yeah, man, Stranger Things, pretty damn good. And then towards the end, not gonna spoil it, but I was not expecting the ending. I wasn't even paying attention to that. I was like, of course. It was pretty good. The ending was pretty good, at least considering that it was volume 1, but it was pretty good. I did get a sense of conclusiveness, but I would have obviously I would have liked to have get the whole season or whatever it is, but of course Netflix hurting probably, so maybe that's probably what led them to do it, and maybe did somewhat of a last minute. I think they might have announced it, but then I forgot. But still, I think it's an indicator of how much I was into this season, was the fact that, like, oh man, I was ready to pull it all lighter watching on that Friday night, and I'm like, and then it ended. I was like, come on, man. I want to know what happens next. So clearly, I think it's a good indication of how good the season is. So personally, in my opinion, the best season so far, considering this structure, season 4, volume 1, that still gets me, but I get it to some extent. At least we got a very good chunk of content. I think the last episode was like literally a movie length, and I didn't even really notice. I was like, damn, this is some good content. So yeah, it was pretty good. Just saying. Yeah. And we got The Boys coming. So it's a good period for television, or quote unquote television. So but yeah, I think that will conclude it for me, and that will end episode 156 of Switches Sites. If you did enjoy the podcast, feel free to like, rate, and subscribe on your various podcasting platforms. Really appreciate that 5-star love if you can do it. I really appreciate it. You can catch me live on Twitch TV/aswitch, where I record this and occasionally sometimes play games. Also the archive on youtube.com/aswitch as well. Until next time, y'all, get your damn game on. Feel free to fuck. Oh yeah. Of course, my camera went. Nobody's safe. I'm gonna hold it to see if it does it. Maybe it don't.